We are now streaming.
Excellent.
Right, hello to anyone that's joining us immediately. We're just filling a little bit of time before we get started.
Just want to make sure everything works.
My mouse keeps... There we go.
Oh, playing keyboard and mouse now.
No, I switched to controller, but my mouse was still giving some inputs. It was hanging off the edge of my tablet.
The tablet? Oh, graphics tablet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a Wacom tablet and then just have my mouse on a mouse mat on that.
I still can't use graphics tablets. I've tried a few times, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I just can't relate those movements to screen.
It's nice when you're like doing 2D art. I've seen people use it for like 3D modelling, and those people are weird.
Yeah. I've tried the bigger ones. I forgot what they're called.
Cintiqs.
Yeah, Cintiqs. So I mean, that's like just drawing on an iPad or something.
Yeah.
And that's fine by me. But yeah, when it's kind of got that separation of where the tablet is, it doesn't work so well.
Oh no.
I'm not seeing the stream opening up on... Oh, here we are. There we are. It's open now.
Good.
Check everything's working there. One moment. There we go. Sorry, switching headphones, switching machines.
No worries.
I think we are all good to go.
I'm just tweeting out the announcement.
Excellent. So for anyone who is joining us now, we're going to just play through about an hour or so of the game. We'll give some commentary. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I will try and keep an eye on that and answer questions as they come in. I am Jam says hello, so hello.
Hello. Alright, let's get started then.
Yep. So I'm Phil. I'm the technical director at Kaizen Game Works, and I'm joined with Ollie.
I am the creative director at Kaizen Game Works.
So Ollie is going to be taking us through this demo, kind of giving free rein. If there's anything you want to see, put it in the chat and we'll see if we can go there.
Yeah, shout us out in the chat if you want to talk about the game, indie development, what your favourite PS2 game is, anything like that. Let me just turn this down.
Yeah.
We've done a bunch of these gameplay demos before that have like been pre-recorded, where it's been like, we want to show you these specific things as we play. But I'm happy for this one to be a bit more chill hangout sesh.
Completely live, so ask your questions and yeah, we'll try and answer them. So the demo of this is available throughout the Steam Games Festival. The actual build that's in the demo is slightly different to this one. It's a little bit older. The version we're playing through now has had a bit more development, had a whole bunch of bug fixes. It's had some slight changes, so it's more representative of what the final game will be when that's released.
Sure.
If you spot any differences, that's why.
The big difference is the voice acting that's gone in.
Oh yeah.
But the system that we're using for determining which voice lines play where is unfinished. So Lady Love Dies especially has some very strange reactions to things that she's being told.
It's a bit trigger happy, right? It fires a lot of lines a lot of the time.
It fires a lot, and I haven't set it up well enough, like with the selection of lines that it has. Because I picked up a music collectible there. Because we have like a variety of lines, and I'm having to assign them to the correct like kind of emotional responses.
Quick question from I Am Jam is, how long has the game been in development? So how long has it been now?
2 years, 2 months.
That's when you and I quit our jobs to do this, right?
Yeah, chase the indie dream.
Yeah, that was a scary time. So we were both working as developers at different studios, and we decided to go ahead and make this. So yeah, been a two-year-long journey so far. It's been somewhat crazy. Like, we can try and figure out what you want your game to be and how you want to develop. And game development is a bit kind of it's hard to predict how it will go. Like, there's a lot of external factors you can't rely on.
Especially with the way we develop, like, we don't do a lot of planning. Like, some people know exactly what they want their game to be as soon as they start making it, and they do a lot of like planning. Like, these are the things we want to achieve. Blah blah blah. We started making something, and this is not the game that I initially pitched to you that we should make.
Well, I think in feel it is.
Yeah, definitely.
The way it feels. The other changes are things that were just born out of like testing and seeing what does and doesn't work, and I think that's pretty common. Like, I've worked on some games that have got really, really short dev cycles where it retains its vision because there's just no time to sort of see what it should be and how it should change. But this one, it's gone through. Like, our very first test was quite different, but we needed to do that to see what wasn't working.
My favourite type of development is when you let the game kind of reveal itself to you as you start making it, and you don't try and enforce or push something onto the game that isn't supposed to be there. Just like adapt and be reactive to the design and how people are playing it and how feeling about it.
I just saw something there that perhaps other people won't have seen in the demo, and that is the reality above the station there. So that's something that has gone in since we did the demo build. Do you want to explain something about that?
Yeah, the reality folding drive is a piece of technology that the Syndicate, who run this island, were gifted by the gods. And what they do is they slice out a piece of reality and then fold it over and over again to power the island. Each time it folds, it creates like this huge burst of energy, which is what their power supply is. And previously, that was like this big, like chimney-based power plant-looking thing, and I really hated it. I did it in a real rush when we first had to get it in, and I always hated it. And so
it was very. Here's what you expect a power station to look like.
Yeah. So let's go down here. So I pulled it out and redid it, and it's still got that element. Like, one of our big things is brutalism. Sorry, I'm trouble jumping across that.
Thank you.
Brutalist architecture. So it maintains that, but then we also add
Thank you.
that weird rotating disc system. So one of the things that we have are movement upgrades.
That's strange.
And you buy these from acquire these by activating foot maths. So now I've just unlocked double jump.
Got it.
Foot math is on. And now I can double jump. So like this, the whole point of this game is we call it exploration investigation. So you have this whole open world to explore and lots of things to discover. You are trying to solve the mass murder of the island's ruling council that occurred in this building last night. So you are Lady Lovedeyes, probably should have explained that. You have been in exile prison up here in the Idlelands for 3 million days for a previous crime, but you are the only investigator that the Syndicate has. So when the mass murder of the council in this building happens last night, you are called out of exile and you drop down from your prison to come and investigate and breathe life back into paradise. So we like narrative detective games, but almost all of them, certainly the ones I've played, are very linear. Like, you investigate this crime scene and you find this evidence, and then you jump through these narrative hoops to progress the story. And if you fail to jump through those narrative hoops, you have to restart or retry that section. So what we wanted to do was, I have some experience doing non-linear narratives when I worked at Little Dawn, and I wanted to blow that out into an open world. and like what does a open world murder mystery look like, and what does it look like where we don't ask you to find the full truth. What about if we don't care whether you find the true ending, we only ask you to prove your own truth. So you've got to investigate this crime. Let's go and have a look at a crime scene, and you will acquire evidence. And the thing is, you can acquire the evidence to speak to any suspect in any order. So whereas the other games, like Danganronpa or something, want you to do things in specific order, we don't care. So we have to do a lot of, like, pretty complicated branching and logic to make sure that everything still makes sense as you acquire evidence and speak to people in different orders. And then at the end of the game, you'll go to the courthouse, which is a building just through these trees over here somewhere, and you will present all your evidence in a trial, and the trial never asks you to get, you know, the true ending. It doesn't tell you whether you got it right or wrong. It just tells you whether the truth you've constructed and the truth you believe in is correct or not, because there are multiple valid suspects, and it is up to you to decide which truth you believe in. We already have one prime suspect, Henry Division. He is incarcerated in the Desolation Cell over here. The Desolation Cell is used for keeping demonically possessed citizens. This island was constructed by the Syndicate, and everyone on here worships their dead alien gods to try and resurrect them. But when you commune with the gods, you invite demons in. And he invited demons in and became possessed. And the official report is that he got out of his prison last night, came across the island, got into this building, and killed the council. And you are here to determine whether that is true or false.
And it is up to you. Like, you can start this game and you can basically say, yeah, I believe that, and go with it, right? That is a possible outcome. You as an investigator can say that all looks solid, and
Sure.
accuse Henry of those crimes, follow the official version of events. Or you could not. You can go out and you can speak to other suspects and find other evidence and build your own story. And one of the things I always wanted to do, and we talked about this quite a while before we ever even started, or I think even thought about making this game, was what is an actual open world detective game? How can you do that in a satisfying way? Because there's so many variables. Which is why people make these more linear progressions where you have to jump through a hoop or you have to do a certain thing first. And we really want to open it up. And I think that's what we've done. We really just want to let you explore this, how you want to explore, and accuse who you want to accuse.
Yeah, a lot of designers want to do storytelling in games, and I've never really cared for storytelling. I always want to do story interacting, and you've always been the same. That, like, it's not. I don't think, you know, why would you tell a story when you're in an interactive medium? So
when you can be part of the story, when you can put yourself in that world and leave yourself in that world.
Yeah.
You should have an impression on the world as a player.
Yeah. So what if we just get out of the way of the player? If we do what has been referred to as abdicate authorship and just let you drive the investigation, let you decide what the truth is, and then prove it. So here we are, outside the council building. So the council were killed, and these are the first. They're protected by a number of holy seals, and this is the first holy seal. 2 high-ranking martial guards. They've been killed. So whoever got to the council last night went through these guys. So we're going to investigate.
Went through quite literally.
Yes. So we've got a symbol drawn in the blood. So someone has daubed some kind of ritualistic marking in the blood. You see those symbols there. And then what is this one? Killed with a blade. So what's important here is that they were killed by a slash to the throat, but they are ragged gashes. It is not done by a perfect blade, and we just picked up a perfect blade that is the alleged murder weapon. This is where Henry was found, the prime suspect. He was found outside here after committing the murder, allegedly. So these were supposed to be the guards.
Got it. What the hell?
The blood quickly. We've got Starlight. Lady Lovedyes comes equipped with Starlight, her investigation assistant computer that can run the blood.
The facts and the truth are not the same.
So this does not match. So the blood. So all the marshals are the soldiers. They're the police force kind of military force on the island. And so Starlight has a record of what their blood should be. And these don't match. So are these actually marshals or are they not?
What the hell?
So Love Dice doesn't know what's going on here.
This is very early on in the game, isn't it? We basically
Yes, this is like one of the
sort of
first things.
15-minute tutorial intro bit, and then you're let out into the world. So is this the first bit of evidence you found?
It's the first bit I've found in this playthrough.
Right, yeah. Hopefully not ever.
Because that's the point, is that you could go in any direction. So we've gone here because we want to show you this crime scene, but you could have just done an entire 180 from where we started and gone and found different evidence in a different order and have a different interpretation of the truth already.
Got it.
So we know now that the blood on the knife that we found a few minutes ago matches the blood of these marshals.
The investigator is here.
Here is some kind of ritualistic marking that
Is this a
matches the
fact
blood. So whoever
or a
killed
trick?
them has drawn those symbols with their blood. And Henry, the prime suspect, has these demonic symbols burned into his skin. So, like, that's a match. That's the kind of thing a demonically possessed citizen would do.
I need to investigate this.
So a ragged gash across the throat means that it was probably done with the damaged blade. So, this is a big game. You could finish the game in 15 minutes if you just started it and went, yeah, I believe the official version of events and didn't do any investigations and initiated the trials. Or you can have like 20 hours of exploring and working through all of this evidence.
Yeah, do you want to be a good investigator or a bad investigator? Maybe not good or bad, but thorough or not. Yeah.
And I just spilt water on my controller. And so Starlight, this is a Starlight interface, and Starlight categorizes and collects all of your information. So these are the investigation notes.
You picked a nice skin behind it as well.
Yep. So you can customize the skin quickly. You can customize your music playlist as well. You can do random or edit.
This is only a small number of the tracks.
We've got to go out and find some more. You have to find the collectibles. So these are all the quests that we've got. Not quests, I call them a quest log, but they're investigation notes. So these are all the things that are like, here's things you could look at. And it's up to you. Like, you could go to trial after closing all of these, or you could go to trial after doing none of them. It's entirely up to you. But, so we've just investigated this case file, who killed the Holy Seal Marshals. And the blood I found at the murder scene should be that of the marshals, but it's not. Why? So our notes will never tell you, go here, do this. They'll always ask you to, you need to think about how this has happened, how this has occurred, and what you should do to go and resolve it and investigate it.
They're based on the information you have.
Yes.
Right? So if a suspect or a character has told you, go and speak to someone, then it probably will say, go and speak to someone. But otherwise, if you've just found something, it's up to you to try and figure out what that means and how you can use it. And these are mutable as well, so they morph depending on what you have found or what you will find. So the logs and the case files, which I'll assume you show in a minute, do change up depending on how you have chosen to play the game.
So the case files are split into two types. There's suspects and the crimes. So the crime you were called down to solve is this, the crime to end all crimes. So this is the murder of the Syndicate's council. And these are the other crimes that we've got going on at the same time. One of the Syndicate is missing, and he is responsible for designing one of the seals, the holy seals that protected the council, one of the security gates. So is his disappearance tied to however they were breached and got through? And then this is the case file that we just investigated, who killed the Holy Seal Marshals. These are all the suspects. We've got the prime suspect, Henry Division, and then we've got the rest of the people left on the island. So anyone that was on the island is a suspect. So let's have a look at the Holy Seal Marshals. So all evidence is categorized by case file and by suspect. Starlight does this for you automatically to help with your comprehension of what's going on. So we can see the Akiko, Grand Marshal Akiko 14, has a bit of evidence logged against her, the dead marshal's blood mismatch, and that is because she's the Grand Marshal of the marshals. So she is responsible for the marshals that were stationed at the entrance to the building. So why are they different? We need to go and speak to her about that.
Yeah, does she know anything about why it doesn't match?
The demonic symbols that we found drawn in the blood are logged against Henry because they match the symbols on his body. And then no one else so far has any evidence against them, but we do have this unknown bit of evidence that it hasn't got a suspect because they were killed with a blade, but whose? So we don't know whose blade was used. So let's go do some more investigating. So this is the inside of the council building. We can go and explore in here. There's a cheeky little collectible. A grotesque pyramid. And this is the second seal. I don't want to go through here because I don't want to show off a cool secret area. But this is Shinji, a little goblin of a character that is trying to help you in his own special anarchic little way.
Trying to help might be a bit generous.
Yes.
He's there.
He's a goddamn pain in the ass is what he is. But he's a mischievous little gremlin. Yeah. Collectible. So you are on the 24th island. A number of islands have preceded this one, and all of them have failed due to demonic corruption, as has this one. So that's why there's so few suspects on the island, because everyone has been moved to the next island. But the ones that hadn't been moved just yet are now suspects in this murder. And something we should say about the music is that the music is piped through these speakers, trying to emulate how it feels like to explore a mall, where the music gets quieter and louder as you move away from the speakers. So it's something in the world.
And it reinforces the idea that Star, like your computer, can kind of interface with sections of this world as well, like to jack into the connections. So it jacks in and helps you control the music. So it's like you're DJing the music of the. Oh, DJing, that makes me sound very old. And you are a disc jockey for the island. Yeah, that kind of idea. You don't have to do that. You
the
can
investigator
just
is
broadcast
here.
It straight to you, like a more traditional game words, but we really like this idea of kind of making yourself more immersive, and the idea that, again, you put something of yourself into the world, into the island. Maybe we should talk a bit about this as well, because like so many detective games are more dark and gritty, and we have a dark and gritty subject, but it's a very bright and kind of not necessarily a fun world, but it's an upbeat world in many ways.
Getting saved.
And that's always something we wanted to do, kind of offset it, but we also really like this city pop style. So having a really strong city pop soundtrack is our dream, and we've been super fortunate that we've been able to make that happen with our composer. He's Barry Epoch Topping. Done some amazing work, and that offset with the visuals and kind of the strange scenario we put it in. We didn't want it to be based in a one-to-one map of the real world. It is in a slightly surreal world, because that is A, interesting, and B, just achieves the kind of vision we had for this and what we kind of want games to be.
Yeah, something a bit escapist and weird and fun.
Yeah.
And we are dealing with a mass murder, but that's kind of fatiguing if you just drown in like grimness all the time.
Every time you do this,
I always forget she's here.
Nanny, the hell? My new name is One Last Kiss.
This character is called One Last Kiss. I love the names in this. You've come up with them all, so I can say that. But they are great.
Thank you.
What mysteries are around us?
Again, to anyone new who's started watching, if you've got any questions, stick them in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on it, and I'll answer them out. Answer them as I see them.
This island is 1,000 little tragedies waiting to be discovered. Got it.
So again, this is another character that ostensibly is offering to help, but she's definitely a suspect because we don't know anything about her.
Nearly all of them offer to help in some way, but then if you were guilty of such a heinous crime, you probably would want to draw suspicion away from you. So, do you trust them or not?
So we've got a new note to go and find one last kiss. But she's not making it easy. We don't know where she is. So this is silent. This is a statue of the god Silent Goat, one of the gods that gifted his power to the Syndicate. Just picked up a carving about him. These blood crystals are the currency that the island runs on, and Shinji, earlier in the game, tells us that he's hidden them around the island for us to help us.
Very helpful.
Yeah. Jump over here. So again, like total freedom of exploration. It's cliche, but if you can see somewhere, you can go there.
Yeah. And we've purposely designed some of the levels in that way. So whilst you don't have to follow the route we have done to get to this point, the fact that you can jump off an area, off a platform down, is very much supported, and we really want you to explore because that is the way to be a good investigator. Like, unearth every rock or whatever it is they say.
And like the kind of games we often play are like action games where you master something, and we wanted to put in something where you are able to master how you move through the island. So you start off with a basic level of movement traversability, but then you unlock more options and you become able to master them, and you can cut a quicker path across the island and unlock new areas and find new areas and discover more things as you master how to move and jump.
And again, you play it as you want to play it. So those were the whiskey drinkers, which you do see during the introduction to the game as well. If you play the demo, you'll see them. And they, you meet them a few times depending on what you talk about. But they're nice little characters just to put in a bit of... they're a bit cryptic, right?
Yeah.
Which is what you like in games especially.
I like, cryptic, esoteric writing. But the problem is, that was how we originally intended a lot of the writing in this to be. But the problem with that is that it obscures meaning from the player, and it obscures information, which is fine in a linear game. I'm a big fan of the silver case, and that intentionally makes it itself hard to pass, to make you engage with it and understand what's going on. But there is a level of trust there that you have with the writer, that because it's linear, they will get you through to the end.
Yeah, and you'll see it doesn't matter.
Yeah, by the end, you will have some clarity. But because we're in a fantasy world with all these strange characters, and it's a different, strange world, and we are asking you to make your own interpretation of evidence and suspicion and testimony. If we make things cryptic and esoteric and hard to pass, it means that the player has a terrible time because they don't understand what they're being told, and they can't interpret the facts into a truth they believe in because they don't understand the facts. So the whiskey drinkers are somewhere for us to get in some of that like cryptic writing.
What the hell?
So like here, okay, there's a good example. So here's a piece of evidence. We found some tire marks up on the roof of the council building. Cars shouldn't be up here. What are they doing up here? But we need to be very explicit with what this means and who it relates to, so that then the player can go and explore and investigate and run down this lead.
I need to investigate this.
So Lydia is the only person on the island with a car. Who is Lydia? Let's have a look at her suspect. So these are the daybreaks. We've got Lydia and Sam. And she is the only person on the island with a car because this island doesn't have cars, because it's a small island. But her car, stick with me on this, drives through reality to move syndicate members from one failed island to the next island, but she can also drive people around the current island. So that's why there is tire tracks here on a roof, because her car just slips through reality. We've already met Lydia. She's one of your oldest friends from before your exile, and before getting here in the normal playthrough route of the game, you'd have met her and had some conversation with her. But now she's your oldest friend and old drinking buddy, but now she's under suspicion because there are these tyre marks.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's under suspicion.
That's strange.
But, you know, her tyre marks are now on top of the council building. At this point in the game, you haven't found a lot for other people, so she's becoming a bit of a prime suspect just by the nature of those tyre marks being there, right?
Yeah.
I need to investigate this.
When you interact with these suspects, you can just press them about the crime and interrogate them. But you can also hang out with them and spend social time with them. And if you do that, you will develop relationships with them and, you know, understand what makes them tick and how they live their life. And you may choose when it comes time to tell your truth and to decide who killed Paradise. Like if you've become good friends with Lydia, you might, although you've got all this evidence against her, you might accuse someone else.
Yeah, do you want to see your old friends going down, or, you know, is there perhaps a reason why she did it? And how does your truth mean you want to convict her? That's a question you've got to ask on top of the evidence. Is it what you want to do?
Yeah, is it because you are going to reshape the future of the Syndicate and the next island? Is this a future that you are happy with, or do you want to see someone else fry for it? We dropped down here. As we were talking, I found some more evidence. A rappel line. Someone has rappelled down here. And as we drop down, there's another bit of evidence down here which we want to get. But what were they doing on this little balcony? And there's this suspicious open grate. So, because we kind of go a bit abstract, like we're very like kind of game mechanics focused and design focused, anything that's pink is perhaps not realistic, but it means you can interact with it. So that is our visual language. Like that weird, what is going on over here? Well, it's pink, so it means there's something over there to interact with. This, you know, the ladders are pink, the grate is pink. It just means that you can interact with it. You might have noticed that the tire marks at the top of the roof were pink, not because tire marks are, but because I want you to know that you can interact with it, and it's a way for people to navigate through the environment. This is bad. I did that texture so long ago that I just included some pink on it, but of course now that is visually confusing and needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Got it. That's weird.
So Love Dice is telling you everything that's going on here. This has been opened. The anti-tamper seals have been cut.
Got it.
And that's an interesting use of the mature filter.
Yeah, I know why that happened.
Yeah, that should say scrape marks, so log that bug. There's scrape marks going into the access hole. So,
I'm going to log that right now.
I need to investigate
live demo,
this.
folks. So with something moved through here, so you can see the scrape marks here, over here. So something's moved through here. So now that has. Let's have a look at what that's done to the evidence. So in the case files, we're investigating this crime. And we've got two things against Lydia now. We've got the tyre marks and we've got the repelling gear. Now, I investigated the tyre marks first and then the repelling gear. But if I had investigated the repelling gear, that would be over in unknown evidence. Because there's nothing to tie a suspect to that repelling gear. But because it was next to the tyre marks, we can assume that Lydia has something to do with this. I mean, we need to go and make sure. We need to go and question her and see what she has to say. But that is a link that we've made. But here, we have no idea what's going on with the damaged grate. And we could say, you know, Lydia rappelled down and we constructed this story, but there's nothing to tie it. We need something concrete. So, I'm just going to hop down here, ignore the ladders, because I want to show some interlocking level design. So this is where we were earlier. So there's the dead bodies of the martial guards down there. Here's the Shinji that we didn't speak to earlier. And like a lot of it, there's multiple routes to everywhere, even though it sometimes looks like there aren't, you just haven't discovered it. So it's very free form exploration, and
I mean, and sometimes those routes are kind of, locked off from one direction or but just because a gate's locked doesn't mean you can't. You can find your own way through it, and it doesn't have to be find my way around the other side and unlock it. There sometimes are alternate ways to do these things.
Yes. So hop down from up there because we saw
The investigator
this
is
thing,
here.
and it is a knife. Scribed with always yours, Sammy baby. And now we know that that must belong to Lydia because Lydia is married to Sam. So
I need to investigate this.
it would be very strange if Sam was giving that evidence to that knife to someone else. So we know it's Lydia's. There's no blood on it. We can suppose that was washed away in the last high tide. But the blade is damaged. It has nicks along it. And now, so this dialogue, again, this is an example of our branching, because if you hadn't seen this grate, you would not be seeing this bit of dialogue here. This is Love Dice helping the player to understand and link the thing they just saw to this new bit of evidence. But because you can get any evidence in any order, you could have skipped that grate and now you're finding this knife and you would be looking for a way to tie it to something.
Yeah. So, yeah, whatever order you approach these things, where we can, it is linked together for you and explained for you in dialogue. And that's where our huge level of branching and all our kind of knowledge systems we have running in the background to try and tie everything together, and all the mutable quest logs and the investigation notes and case files all come together.
So now under our investigation notes, we've got something about Lydia's knife. Why was it found below the penthouse? And tire marks. Why were they on the roof of the penthouse? So that's something we should go and chase up. Again, like, we're not telling you go here and speak to this person or find this to solve this. Like, what do you think, as the player, what do you think you should do here? And the case files have now updated. So Lydia now has Lydia's knife as evidence against her, and she also has the damaged grate. The damaged grate has been moved out of the unknown into known, because
things aren't looking that good for Lydia.
Because Lydia's knife could have been used to pry the grate open and cut the anti-tamper seals.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff on Lydia there, but I mean, you have really just started the game. Like,
yes, this is so early.
The route we go down, and maybe you could say, "Well, I'm done here," and go and take that to judge and present that as your argument and see how that goes down. But really, if you want to investigate, you should probably at least talk to a few suspects and explore more of the island than just one area.
So this is an island that you don't know anything about as the player. You've just been called down here. So to help you with that, we have added an AR mode so that we can go and talk to people and find them. So this is Lydia. So let's go and find Lydia.
Blood crystal obtained.
Whilst you're over there, or going over there, point out we've got this dynamic day-night cycle, so you can see it kind of rotating. And it's slightly sped up from what you'd expect because this island is ending, and because the council are murdered, as the island is being wrapped up, ready to move to the next island. Things aren't quite what they should be, and that includes the day-night cycle is a little bit faster than you might expect it to be.
And there's other things that are breaking as well, like why are these ghosts here?
Yes.
Reality is breaking around you, so these ghosts are appearing. And also you might notice that the birds are flying backwards and phasing in and out because the reality as the Syndicate know it is breaking down.
Yeah, it's kind of in between that state of being normal and being abnormal, or at least as normal as this island would normally be. And that does bring on to a question though, can you die in a game? The answer is no.
There's no fall damage.
Because we really want you to explore and understand, explore the way you want, and jumping off cliffs if that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine.
The investigator is here.
And that is kind of supported by the nature of the island as well. The Syndicate members, they have extremely long lives. You've in fact been exiled for 3 million days, is it, before you join the game? So yeah, you've got very long life. No one's immune to being stabbed apparently. But
they're immortal, not invulnerable.
yes, so yeah, you can't die, and you kind of see the benefit of that. But that's not absolutely true for everyone on the island. Like, as you see, they've got these ghosts.
So this is one of our side quests. This is not related to the case, so you can choose to accept or refuse.
I need to investigate this.
This is one of the very few things that I think I've kind of written in the game. You've obviously massaged it and corrected all my millions of spelling mistakes and made it read like someone with a decent grasp of the English language has created it. But a little bit of backstory. I don't know if you really know that, but the reason I wrote that was because my stepdad passed away not long after he started developing this game, and there was a day where my mum had lost a stone out of her wedding ring.
Oh wow!
And that is kind of like the trauma of seeing her go through that. But yeah, that's definitely something that would mean that you would manifest as a ghost.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yes, it was.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make our own games, so that we can put ourselves into the game and put. We've worked in a lot of. I've worked in AAA. You've worked in like kind of very high-end mobile stuff, where you are definitely creating something for someone else, and you don't have creative input or ownership as much as you might like. So,
especially the things we like. I'm not going to say we like things that no one else does, but we've always been a fan of the kind of slightly more unusual or slightly more quirky things.
Yeah, we like cool shit other people don't. So
we wanted to make that and hope other people like it too.
Yes, you know, I like a lot of the games that I've worked on, but they do have to be a certain level of mass market. And since we have funded an awful lot of this by our own savings and condemned our life, future life unless this succeeds, we can do whatever we want.
Yes, and I think that is.
What am I doing? Where's Lydia?
Yeah, definitely. We've always said that if we're going to make a game, it should be something, have the message we want it to be in there. Because if you believe in it and you've got heart and your passion, then it will shine through, hopefully, and other people like it too. And that's not to say, we have funded an awful lot of this ourselves, but we are also working with our publisher, Fellow Traveller, who have been absolutely wonderful.
They've been amazing.
I have a bad feeling.
So surprising in terms of how, like when you work with console publishers, they are on your ass every day, making sure that you're sticking to what they want the vision of the game to be as well as you. And that's fine, because they're spending $100 million or whatever. But Fellow Traveller have just been amazing in getting out of our way and just trusting us. It is a level of trust I have not seen in a publisher before.
And the advice they have come back with, it's advice based on understanding of the game, right? It's things that just help us clarify that we are going the right way. So they've really let our vision shine through, and for that we are very grateful. So, a little puzzle there, you found a green crest. Just one though.
Do that later, we'll go and see our
Lydia.
girl Lydia first. Someone's giving us a call.
Oh, of
Crimson.
course.
Another one of our old friends. So that's another challenge that we had with this, is that you're not a stranger in a strange land. Like, something like Persona, that's why every time you play like a Persona game, it's always a transfer student coming to a new school, because they can introduce, you're a stranger, and so they can introduce all of these characters and world and area of the town or whatever that you've never been to before. Whereas we wanted to bring you into a world where you know these people, and
you don't
they know you.
know the island, but you know most of the people.
Yes, so many of the people like you used to that. Since you're immortal, there are some new faces that you'll get to know, but this is Crimson Acid, one of your old friends, and she sells secrets. She's telling you to come and meet her, and she's just authorised herself to be findable under AR, which she's not supposed to be able to do. So that shows you that she is now. Also, we can see these save points, these little pink things here are the phones that you save at. We don't do auto saves in this game. You have to manually save because we like Resident Evil.
There are also fast travel points as well. As you unlock them, you can use that to traverse the island slightly quick if you want. And perhaps more importantly, they're where you can get some new skins from.
So let's save just in case we get trash. So let's unlock this. So saving doesn't cost any money. You can just save as much as you want. We paid 1 crystal to unlock, and we can pay another one to fast travel, and you can fast travel as many times as you've got crystals, and we have unlocked a new Starlight skin. So let's just pop that on.
Oh, both quite floral things.
Right, where's Lydia? There she is.
Paracord.
I wish I'd got the other upgrade as well.
Yeah, you've got enough blood crystals.
I know, I just ran past her. So, like, that's a good example of like some of the like exploration. Like, it doesn't sound like that important compared to a lot of other games that kind of like traffic in like open world exploration. But it's not often you get that in like a narrative game. Like,
No, very rare. Like if you play like something like Firewatch, it's a nice experience, but you are, you walk at the set pace, and you've got some freedom where you want to go, but you also follow the path, and we wanted you to explore, and that is just the core of our game. That is what suits the investigation style. So we really want to lean on it and not hold you back.
Yeah, and that's another reason. It ties into what you were saying earlier about how this island is like bright and colourful, and we've gone for the city pop theme rather than grim, dark murder mystery, because we want this to be a place that you can vibe in. Like we play, often games that are quite escapist, like not very kind of realistic games. Bayonetta was not a documentary, so we wanted to have somewhere that you could just hang out and explore and vibe in and take your time and chill in. So, Lydia, we just had some preamble, so let's get into the case files. So what are we going to talk to her about? Let's talk to her about this case file that we've just found a load of evidence against her for. So,
But there's loads.
There's loads because we found so much. So we can do these in any order, or we could just back out. It's up to you. Like, you might upset Lydia, so you might not want to ask all of these questions. So let's, you decide what you want to ask and when. But let's ask her. Let's play it safe and see what she knows about the first Holy Seal Marshals.
Huh?
She was working last night, so she doesn't know anything about them. It's short and sweet. And we keep a log on the right-hand side of the screen so that you can always review what has been said. So let's ask her about the tyre tracks.
Not home last night. I guess that's feasible, but
it's feasible, but it's also trespassing.
Yes.
So you can choose, like, do you want to be suspicious of her, or do you want to try and coerce her? Let's try. I was going to straight up. You were trespassing.
I have nothing to do with this.
Sure.
Okay, so she was up there a few weeks ago, apparently.
Let's ask her about the open grate.
Sure.
She's playing Tom here as well.
What?
So this ties in as well, like, because you found the grate and her knife, the conversation can go this way.
Yes.
What?
So she is
That's
telling us
strange.
the knife we found, she lost a while ago.
Come on, LD.
So what's important to know is that Lydia and her husband Sam are both ex-assassins. They met on the battlefield in man's prehistory. The background of this island is that alien gods came to Earth and gifted man technology and then enslaved man and used them in wars. And Lydia and Sam fought for different gods and were sent to kill each other but fell in love. So she's a good candidate, suspect for this
Got it.
crime because she is an ex-assassin. And so she's saying that she hasn't got much use for a knife because there's no killing to be done on this island. Or is there? And we've exhausted some of the dialogue options there because we could talk about the grate is automatically transitioned into talking about the knife as well.
Yeah, we want the dialogue to be quite natural. Obviously, as an investigator, you have to start the questions and ask them, but we don't want you to have to sit through 3 dialogues that all say the same thing just because that's what makes sense. We've tried to make sure that the logic branches throughout the dialogues to make it as natural as possible.
Right, so we've asked her about that, and we've got 13 minutes left. So
yes, let's
go and explore some stuff. So we've spoken to Lydia. Let's see if anything's changed in the case files. So we've got an update. So these things are now updated. The images and the descriptions on them can change depending what other evidence you find. And we now know that we've added Lydia's testimony to this. So for the time box, Lydia claims it was from a few weeks ago when she was watching the sunset. And her knife, she claims that it just disappeared.
Yeah.
So that helps you keep track of what is going on. Now let's...
if anyone's got any questions again in the last sort of 10-15 minutes, just put them in the chat and we'll try and answer them.
So let's go for an exploring the suburbs. So another thing to mention is that this is in development and the optimization isn't where we want it to be for final. Like you may notice trees and shadows popping like that. That's a really bad example of it. As you walk up there, you can see those trees popping.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kind of thing that we're going to be fixing. We've been very aggressive in our optimization at the moment to make sure it runs on low-end systems. But we will be addressing
now
all
we're
that
just
stuff.
kind of bringing it back up,
Yeah.
speaking of numbers. Can we go have a little look at Dead Nebula once we're done with Shinji?
Sure.
Do you want to go to the convenience store?
Yeah, just have a look at. I love the Dead Nebula is the mascot of Dead Nebula on the island, and I really like it. So if you look up, that's my favourite.
Yeah, it's really important with open world games to make sure you've got enough landmarks in. So that is a floating blimp of Dead Nebula, which you can see from all around the island. Excuse me. Just going to take a sip there. And the corporation on the island that makes all the products for the island is called Dead Nebula, and this is their mascot.
One thing we haven't shown is the interaction with vending machines around the island. So you can do that, and you can buy drinks and have a little chat with Dead Nebula as you do so.
Found some dog treats. Let's go and find Dead Nebula. Perhaps a little action figure.
Yeah.
Where's the nearest vending machine?
There's... Let me know where you go. So let's buy this. Sparkling water.
I drink sparkling water all day, so that's why that's in the game.
And now we're going to have a little chat with
your purchase.
Dead Nebula.
Please enjoy your cold, refreshing beverage. Dead Nebula, more refreshing than a cosmic apocalypse.
I really like this little line.
Don't test me.
So Dead Nebula is kind of a cute mascot, but also a little bit dark and menacing, and that's something you'll see quite a lot. in the
No
game.
way.
But also a little bit helpful. Like maybe if you, follow the corporate dream and buy lots of drinks.
Yeah, Dead Nebula is an AI.
I was born to
But
investigate.
they know Love dies from 3 million days ago, so they have a history and a rapport.
Cool. I'm just going to turn my light on. I realise I'm very dark on camera. That might just silhouette me a bit, but probably a bit better.
That's fine. So, you'll need upgrades for Starlight to access some of the puzzles and computers in the world. So Dead Nebula thinks that there is something jammed in a vending machine that would help Love Dies.
Buy more drinks.
So if you buy more drinks, Dead Nebula will hook you up.
Another question. How many people are working on the game? Full time, there's 2. So that is Ollie and myself. We have been working with some incredible contractors though. So we've been working with, I mentioned Barry Epot Topping earlier. He's been doing all the music and some of the sound design. We had Guy Woodward, who's doing an incredible QA job. Good QA it's so important. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
We've had
Curtin Gregory.
Curtin Gregory, that's it. I always get it wrong. Gigalithic is his handle, so that's how I always refer to him. He's been doing some of our character art. We've had Sophie Hodge, who's helped us out with some of our UI. Rachel Noy has been doing an incredible job with some of our art as well.
She's done 3D stuff and some of our character art.
Yeah.
Crystal the Tank.
Really hesitant to hope we haven't forgotten anyone. We've had some great voice actors. We've
Yes,
also
we need to
had-
do something with the voice acting. There's like
Yeah.
some promo videos with them because the voice acting we got in because we got some extra funding from the UK Games Fund. So there's a hot tip for anyone making games in the UK. Apply to the UK Games Fund, and we could do some voice acting, and we kind of had to source it from different places, and everyone has been fantastic.
Yeah, like especially as some of it has been done during lockdown and things as well. It's been,
Crystal the Tank.
it's been challenging to get, but everyone's done a really good job. Yeah, so a bit of rain.
Kind of just casually mooching around, having an explore. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Just pressed it.
Crystal the Tank.
We've got some wood crystals. There's another ghost we could talk to. Let's get some more music. Oh, I know what we can do. Let's go and speak to my dog.
When you're on about making your
What
own
the hell?
games, what are you going to put in there?
Yep, this is my little dog Bear-chan.
Ooh, the investigator is here.
The last time we tried to show off this in a video, we realised it didn't work at all.
It was completely broken. That's all my dog wants. All she just lives for treats. So
I'm glad to be back.
this little quest gives you. She's got a blood
What the
crystal
hell?
for you.
The investigator is here.
Crystal the Tank.
Nice.
Right, who do you want to see? We're supposed to be ending in 5 minutes, but I'm fine
Yeah.
to carry on. So
I was going to see Sam, but we've got a gameplay video up where we saw Sam the other day. Well, yeah, we can carry on as long as we want. Is there anyone you want to see?
I want to go and get the air dash actually.
Oh, okay.
I've got a torch for when it gets dark.
Oh, the stream's down.
The stream's down.
Stream is down.
I don't know why. I've just set it going again.
Yeah, hopefully that will recover. Had a couple of these problems when we did it before. Sometimes it just falls over. I think it fell over when we told me the bear chain. Here we are, we're back.
Hey.
So, apologies to anyone who, well, for that cutting out. I don't know if you can still see or hear, if it was down for everyone, but we are back.
I'm
So,
glad
we
to be
decided to get
back.
another movement upgrade.
That's strange.
Air dash unlocked.
So we've now got air dash, so well, yeah, we can do a dash like that.
Get stuck
Oh god,
What?
those trees popping really badly.
Yep. So,
Live demo, folks.
sneaky bug to fix.
Where's good to go and see? Shall we go and see? Let's go see Sam. I really like going to see Sam.
So one of the problems you have with these kind of popping bugs and stuff is because there are only a couple of us working on it, and it's a big open world, and it's really hard to control everything. We've got a whole bunch of ways we can test and do tests and processes, but this particular build is kind of a mid-milestone one, right?
Yeah.
So it is a little bit work in progress, and these things will happen, but obviously we'll get.
Yeah, with the air dash, I can access things I couldn't get to before.
I don't like this.
Oh,
Got
I
it.
think the stream's gone again.
Right, let's wrap it up then, because I bet that's my internet saying you've done enough.
Let's wait for it to come back, and then we'll wrap everything up. Right, we are back. So
And we are going to have to wrap it up because I think my internet is dying. The stream keeps cutting out, which is Virgin Media's way of telling me that I've had too much fun.
yes, we've given you too much. So we are going to do a AMA over on the Fellow Traveller Discord. Is it Thursday at 7?
Thursday 7 UK time. The event is on our Steam page. The demo is on our Steam page. Trailers are on our Steam page. There's more gameplay that we showed at Ludonarracon back in April up on our YouTube channel, in the Fellow Traveller YouTube channel. So come back on Thursday if you want to ask us anything, and download the demo, check out the trailers, wishlist us because the algorithm must be fed, and and lots of people think Sam's really hot and sexy, and I agree. So let's leave it on Sam.
Did you mention Twitter?
We have a Twitter. You can tweet at us all your hot takes at Kaizen Game Works. Website kaizengameworks.co.uk. And again, big thank you to everyone that has watched and asked questions, and big thank you to everyone that has worked on this and made this build and this demo possible.
Yeah. Apologies, it's cut a little bit short, but hopefully you enjoyed that. And we will catch you on Thursday for the AMA, and then we'll be putting up more streams and videos in the near future.
Thanks everyone.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.